When I say the Tournament of Roses, one of the first things you might think of is football. But the tournament is more than just a football game and a parade. Behind the rose curtain is a rich history of pageantry and unity that stems back over 121 years. And did you know it's entirely run by volunteers? So why don't you join me and the other Global Volunteer Crusaders as we help to make the 121st Tournament of Roses come to life.
The mission of our Crusaders is to travel the world looking for volunteer opportunities that promote ecological conservation, environmental health, social equality, and cultural diversity, all in order to educate and motivate individuals to become globally aware and to make a positive difference in the world.
All right, so here we are. This is the tournament house. This is essentially the headquarters and the hub of operations for the entire Tournament of Roses parade. If we're gonna figure out how we can volunteer, this is a great place to start. But right now, let me introduce somebody special to you. This is Angela, and she's gonna be our special correspondent for the Tournament of Roses. Angela?
Hey Zach, great to see you again.
Good to see you.
You're absolutely right. The Tournament House is the perfect place to get started on figuring out the history of the Tournament of Roses and how we can volunteer.
All right.
Mike Matheson is a personal friend of mine who's going to be meeting us. He is the Vice President of the Tournament Executive Committee. He'll be showing us around and telling us a little bit more about the Tournament of Roses.
Well, cool, let's get started.
Hi Mike, so nice of you to meet us here.
Angela, it's my pleasure. And Zach, I'm here to help. And what can I do for you?
Well, I would love to hear more about the history of the parade and how volunteers impact the Tournament of Roses.
And I'd like to know how I can help in this year's parade myself.
Well, Zach, you look like a strong guy. I think I've got just the job for you. I've got the business card here for Phoenix Decorating Company, and I think you can help them build floats.
Sweet.
And Angela, I think I can help you out too.
Oh, well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take off to Phoenix Decorating Company, see what I can learn, and help build some floats for this year's parade.
Perfect.
See you guys later. I can't believe it. We're finally here at the Phoenix Decorating Company in Pasadena. We're gonna see how some of these floats are made for the Tournament of Roses parade, and we're gonna volunteer to help build some ourselves. So why don't you come with me and let's get started. So I'm here in the barn where they make all these floats. Have you ever wondered where they come up with these amazing ideas? Well, I'm here with Catherine Alsman, and she's going to tell us how these floats go from concept to creation. Catherine, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. No, well, when we start out with, of course, the parade theme, and then our clients' ideas for their floats. We sit down with our designers, and they come up with a few sketches. We present them to the client makes their decisions. And from those sketches, we end up with the renderings, and from the renderings, we come up with the floats.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it goes from idea to drawing to actually building the float.
Pretty much.
And they're going to look just like this?
Yeah, they will. It always surprises me, but they do. When you see this illustration, this is going to be the float you see going down the street.
Well, why don't we go take a look at some of these floats now?
Sure, come on, they're right on the floor.
All right, let's go. So here we are. This is the beginning stage of the float building process. Why don't we join Catherine over here and find out exactly how it's done.
So Zach, you saw the illustrations in the game. This is where we're going in.
The building stage.
This is the building stage.
Awesome, that is so cool. I can't believe that you're going to turn this float into that picture.
Well, yeah, Zach, we start off with a basic truck chassis, and from there it goes to our sculptor and welders. We take and we apply this foam, and the foam is where the natural materials and the flowers will be applied.
Okay.
You'll notice stuff that looks like graffiti. It's not. Those are our markings that indicate the colors of the materials, and in some cases even what the flowers themselves are going to be.
Oh wow. So each different area represents a different material or a different color that's going to be used on the float?
Uh-huh, that's exactly what it is.
Awesome.
So do you want to see where we go from here?
Yeah, what do we do next?
Well, it's kind of a large paint by numbers. Okay, Zach, so you just saw our second step, and that was the one that looked like it was graffiti.
Yeah.
Well, we're now at the Ronald McDonald House Charities, and you can see what had been added, and it's the paint.
That's right.
This is what tells the crew chief what colors belong where, and they have a specific list that allows them to put in the variation in colors and such. But it all has to be covered, including the underside of the space shuttle.
So this whole float is going to be covered in organic material?
Every inch of it.
I can't wait to see that. What's our next step?
Well, from here we go to dry down, and this is where it all gets a little sticky.
Well, let's get our gloves on and let's get to work.
Ready?
So Catherine, here we are in the dry deck portion of the stage building, but I'm still curious, what are some of the requirements for a float to be accepted into the Tournament of Roses Parade?
Well, we have the necessity of height, depth, width, length, and all floats have to fall within these parameters unless they have a special variance.
Okay.
The one thing that they all have in common is the matter of being entirely covered in organic material.
That is so detail-oriented. I think I want to start helping out myself right now.
They're going to let you volunteer.
All right, let's do it. We've got flowers, we've got cornhusk, we even have pine cones. If it's organic material, it's going to end up on one of these floats. Well, why don't you tell me about some of the organic materials you have here?
Now over here we have yellow straw flour, and what is done was we have a blender. And in the blender you grind it up into a powder like this. So we have a heavy powder, and I don't...
This looks really fine. What is
That's
cinnamon?
Yeah, that's cinnamon. We don't have to grind
Well,
that.
you know what? I think I'm going to go make some cookies too. I'll see you later. We've got lentils, onion seeds, red beans, kidney beans, and I'm going to be working up on this float with white rice. So here we are inside the Alhambra float, the one that I was just working on putting rice in. What you'll notice here, this is for our forward observer. He's the one that can actually see outside the float. He's got an emergency brake. And the reason that he does is because the driver, he sits underneath the float and he can't see.
We're already in the courthouse to make a plaque, and we'll be using the courthouse as those feathers on the eagle.
Amazing. These are eagle feathers. Let's see what kind of materials this young lady's using. What materials are you using up here?
I'm using onion seeds.
There's still a lot of work left to be done on these floats. But right now, let's go see how Angela and Mike are doing back at the tournament house.